Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top story tonight on Gravitas is about how wartime Russia and Ukraine are bracing for the arrival of Donald Trump in the White House. How exactly, and what's brewing behind the scenes? What happens here onwards? In the latest, Moscow has said it is ready to study Trump's ideas for ending the war once he takes office. What would that mean? We decode all of that for you in just a bit. And here's a look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We tell you all about India's new anti-tank missile ready for combat and what its induction would mean. Can new China weapons defeat America in the Star Wars space? Why is that question being asked? We tell you. Have the wildfires in Los Angeles left the future hazy for the Olympics to be held in 2028? All this and more coming up. Our top story tonight on Gravitas focuses on the Russia-Ukraine war. Both sides are ramping up efforts to gain the upper hand just days before US President-elect Donald Trump assumes office, promising to reshape the dynamics with potential ceasefire talks. Moscow, meanwhile, has said it is ready to quote-unquote study Trump's ideas for ending the war once he takes office. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, on Tuesday, Ukrainian forces launched a series of drone strikes deep into Russian territory. As per reports, dozens of drones hit many cities across Russia, including Kazan, Bryansk, Tula, Saratov, Penza, located far from the front line, including Ulyanovsk. The strikes reportedly caused widespread destruction, with fires engulfing gas storage facilities, oil refineries, oil depots, and industrial sites critical to Russia's military infrastructure. One of the most significant targets was the Orgsynthes plant in Kazan, a vital cog in Russia's military-industrial complex. And another key hit was the city of Engels, home to an airbase housing Russia's nuclear-capable bombers. In the Saratov region, 2 industrial sites were also severely damaged. Videos on social media, in fact, showed large flames and smoke emerging at the Saratov oil refinery. These attacks have reportedly disrupted daily life, closing schools and grounding flights at major airports. Meanwhile, in the energy-rich region of Tatarstan, a drone hit a chemical plant in Kazan. Videos on social media showed a large fire and plumes of thick black smoke emitting from the plant. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Air Force has said that its air defense systems downed 58 Iranian-designed drones launched by Russia, while another 21 were destroyed with electronic interference systems, or they simply crashed. Ukraine officials confirmed that the drone strikes were aimed to cripple Russia's military and energy infrastructure. Kiev described its actions as retaliation for relentless Russian bombardment of Ukrainian cities. However, this tit for tat raises a critical question. Is this escalation bringing peace closer or pushing it further away? Meanwhile, on the ground, the fighting intensifies in the eastern Donetsk region. The city of Pokrovsk, a key logistics hub, remains a focal point of the conflict. Ukrainian officials have reportedly urged remaining residents to evacuate as Russian forces encircle the area. Once home to 60,000 people, Pokrovsk is reportedly caught in relentless crossfire. And as per reports, Russia appears to be shifting its tactics. Instead of direct assaults on Pokrovsk, they are targeting supply routes to the city. Ukrainian military sources report heavy shelling along highways connecting Pokrovsk to Dnipro, a central Ukrainian city. In response, Ukraine has halted production at a critical coking coal mine in Pokrovsk, which is vital to its steel industry. Russian troops have also reportedly advanced near Chasivyar and 7 other settlements. Chasivyar is a key strategic target for Russia. This back-and-forth escalation underscores the high stakes of a war that at present shows no signs of slowing down. And then there is US President-elect Donald Trump. As he prepares to take office next week, his rhetoric about brokering peace has sparked both hope and skepticism. Trump has promised direct negotiations with Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky, calling the war, quote-unquote, a bloody mess that must end. In a recent interview, Trump said he would like to meet Putin very quickly, but without giving a definite timeline. Trump's approach, after all, could mark a dramatic shift in US involvement. But will it lead to tangible results is the immediate question. Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Tuesday that Moscow was ready to study Trump's ideas for ending the war once he takes office. In a press conference, Lavrov said that Russia welcomed the fact that the incoming Trump administration had, quote-unquote, started to mention the realities on the ground more often. Listen in.
President Trump said that Putin wanted to meet. And I think we should meet. But first, there is a need for Trump to take office as the new US president. That is it. Everything that has been discussed over the past year has several aspects. First of all, the fact that people have started mentioning the realities on the ground more often probably deserves to be welcomed.
Donald Trump's impending inauguration introduces a new dynamic to the war. Will his promised negotiations lead to a breakthrough? Or will they add another layer of complexity to an already tangled conflict? As we stand on the edge of a potential turning point, the stakes could not be higher. And for now, one thing is absolutely clear. Neither side is showing any signs of stepping back. Russia is not the only challenge that the NATO is facing. US President-elect Donald Trump's threats to take control of Greenland are also causing a lot of concern for the NATO. In fact, Trump's allies are preparing a bill to facilitate America's buying of Greenland. What do Trump's threats mean for the NATO and its defense? A lot, actually. Before we go on, first, let's just discuss this bill. Trump's Republican allies in the U.S. House of Representatives have introduced a draft legislation. It is aimed at authorizing negotiations for the U.S. to buy Greenland from Denmark. But you see, here's the kicker. Greenland's pro-independence leader has expressed that he is ready to talk. You heard that right. The bill is called Make Greenland Great Again Act. It was circulated on Monday by Representative Andy Ogles and supported by 10 co-sponsors, would enable Trump to basically initiate talks with Denmark immediately after he steps into office. The bill states, and I'm quoting here, Congress hereby authorizes the president beginning at 12:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20, 2025, to seek to enter into negotiations with the Kingdom of Denmark for the purchase of Greenland. Remember, Trump refused to rule out a military takeover as far as Greenland is concerned. Its prime minister has reiterated the country's goal of gaining independence from Denmark last week. Agere emphasized that the Greenlandic people do not want to be either Danish or American. He has also expressed readiness to talk with Trump, acknowledging that his refusal to rule out the use of force to acquire Greenland was serious. Remember, strategically, Greenland is very important for NATO. It is the world's largest island with shores on the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. From the early 19th century to the 1950s, it was a territory under full control of Denmark. Currently, Greenland hosts a US military base and an early warning system for ballistic missiles. However, since Greenland is officially part of Denmark and therefore considered European territory, European leaders and the European Union have come to Denmark's aid. Both German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and a spokesperson for the European Commission, in fact, have emphasized the importance of state sovereignty as the foundation of international law. It applies equally to both large and small countries, after all. While highlighting state sovereignty, and European leaders have criticized Trump's stance, not everyone is taking his threats somewhat seriously. In fact, in her response, the EU Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho said that Article 42.7 of the European Union's Lisbon Treaty, which is about mutual defense, applies to Greenland. Additionally, it's important to remember that Greenland is also covered by the North Atlantic Treaty, or NATO, meaning that an attack on Greenland would necessitate a response from other NATO allies, including the US, to come to its defense. India's defense capabilities have taken a major leap forward. The Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, has successfully completed trials for the Nag Mark II, a cutting-edge indigenous anti-tank missile system. In an official statement, India's Ministry of Defense said that the tests for the new missile were held at the Pokhran Field Range in Jaisalmer. This was on Monday. And with the ministry further highlighting that it is a third-generation missile and it uses fire and forget technology, which means once the operator locks onto the target, the missile handles the rest. In a nutshell, the new missile seeks targets, strikes them, and destroys them with pinpoint precision. In a post on the platform X, DRDO stated that the missile destroyed precisely all the targets, both at maximum and minimum range, during field evaluation trials, thus validating its firing range and making the system ready for induction. And that's not all. The missile carrier version 2 was also field evaluated. So combined with the successful trial of the anti-tank missile, the weapon system is now ready for induction into the Indian Army, marking a significant milestone in India's push for self-reliance in defense manufacturing. In a post on X, the Office of India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh praised the achievement and congratulated the DRDO, the Indian Army, the defense industry for this success. In fact, as per reports, the new anti-tank missile is a big step towards strengthening India's defense infrastructure, especially in modern warfare. It reportedly has several key advantages. It is designed to penetrate and strike modern armored vehicles, even those equipped with explosive reactive armors. Furthermore, its advanced guidance system ensures a hit, even in complex battlefield conditions, a testament to India's growing technological prowess, showcasing India's capability to create world-class military systems. And with this, India is sending out a clear message. The country is ready to defend itself with homegrown, state-of-the-art weapons. And as it enters service, this marks a new chapter in India's defense capabilities. The battleground for dominance is all set, and it's not land, sea, or air. It is space. Those who control space control the fate of conflict through communication and through assault. The next world war could be won or lost in space, and China, you see, is determined to win it. Space could be the battlefield for extraordinary technology and weapons that seem inconceivable to conventional minds. The battle has now become a race for space dominance between just two players, the United States of America and China. Just days after reports emerged about America's new anti-satellite jammer network, news from China indicating that it is developing an extremely powerful directed energy weapon. According to the report, China has overcome big technical hurdles in developing this new energy weapon. It is being referred to as a high-power microwave HPM weapon, although it is still undergoing laboratory testing and is not ready for immediate deployment. It has the capability of generating electromagnetic pulses that are so intense they can only be compared to a nuclear explosion. This new energy weapon could disrupt or even destroy electronic components within enemy weapon systems. Chinese researchers have developed this new weapon that employs phased array transmission technology. It basically means that the weapon can precisely focus energy, which will increase its effective range and enhance its damage effects. Now, this is big. Such a weapon was once considered impossible. It's because the pulses it generates could potentially destroy the weapon itself. The Chinese military is actively working to develop specialized anti-satellite weapons. Chinese scientists estimating that gigawatt-level energy weapons could target both drones as well as satellites in low Earth orbit. Details of China's new energy weapon have come out after America announced plans to deploy its new anti-satellite jammer network. The jammers are basically designed to disrupt satellite signals in the Indo-Pacific. The US anti-satellite jammer network is known as Remote Modular Terminals, RMTS. Now, these systems are designed to disrupt what is called kill chains. For those unversed with the term, a kill chain is basically a concept used in military and cyber operations. It describes the structure of an attack. In military context, a kill chain outlines the steps involved in attacking a target, which include identifying the target, deploying forces, launching the attack, and ultimately destroying the target. In the realm of cybersecurity, a kill chain involves several steps as far as a cyber attack reconnaissance is concerned: weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and finally, action. And regarding America's anti-satellite jammers, the primary target is China's expanding satellite surveillance network, particularly its Yaogan series. While China refers to these as military reconnaissance satellites, they function as spy satellites. They are capable of tracking objects as small as a car from space. China's spy satellites can provide continuous surveillance over the Indo-Pacific Command. This situation is a cause for concern for the US, as they fear that China could track American forces, making US interests vulnerable to potential Chinese exploitation. To counter this threat, the US has developed anti-satellite jamming technology. Experts anticipating more communication jamming tactics in future conflicts. A kind of a cat and mouse game where each side tries to develop more effective jammers and counteract them with more jam-resistant signals. Now, if you're hearing this for the first time, don't be surprised. China is rapidly advancing its military space capabilities. What worries the US is not just the current power, but the unknown intentions behind it. We have officially entered an era of US-China electronic warfare. And with Donald Trump returning to the presidency, tensions may only escalate further. For now, switching over to some breaking developments coming in right this minute. Pete Hegseth, the President-elect Donald Trump's controversial pick for Defense Secretary, is taking part in a high-stakes Senate confirmation hearing. In fact, the hearing could determine whether his nomination moves forward. Pete Hegseth has vowed to fulfill the U.S. President-elect's charge of bringing warrior culture back to the Pentagon. If he is confirmed, he said, and I'm quoting here, "When President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense," quote unquote. He continued, I'm quoting further, "He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser focused on lethality, meritocracy, war fighting, accountability, and readiness," quote unquote. Now, just for further context, Hegseth is the first of Trump's cabinet picks to appear for a confirmation hearing ahead of Trump's return to the White House on Monday. Listen in.
View in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense. He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser focused on lethality, meritocracy, warfighting, accountability, and readiness. Returning the Pentagon back to warfighting, that's it. That's my job.
All right, going straight across now to our correspondent, Susan Teherani, who's been tracking those developments very closely. Susan, bring our viewers up to speed, first of all, with what has transpired so far. We did play out for our viewers an excerpt of what's been said.
Yeah, so Pete Hegseth is in front of the Armed Service Committee right now. He's testifying, making his own case that he should lead the Department of Defense during the second Trump administration. He's facing tough questions, notably from Democrats, understandably, and you have many Republicans, not only in this committee, but on Capitol Hill, who say that he's ultimately going to have the votes to move forward and become defense secretary, one of the youngest. He's 44 years old. The Wall Street Journal was saying, despite the fact that he is really a decorated war veteran post 9/11, he doesn't have the experience needed to lead a big organization of any sort, let alone the Defense Department, which is so important for America's national security and international security. So he does face criticism in that sense, even from those that support him. Nonetheless, President Trump and his allies on Capitol Hill are confident that Pete Hegseth is right for the job at a time where they believe the Department of Defense has moved away from its main focus of combat and security and has focused more on cultural and social issues like DEI and race relations.
All right, Susan, also just to quickly ask you to tell our viewers a little bit more about why what's happening right now is extremely crucial given the context of the kind of statements that have been made.
There have been a series of personal accusations leveled against Pete Hegseth. They have been anonymous. There are sexual misconduct allegations. There is allegations that he had problems with alcohol and whatnot. So these are personal issues that really Hegseth is going to have to defend his character, and those supporting him will have to defend it, despite the fact that they were anonymous. There weren't any police reportings filed or anything like that. But nonetheless, this is something that not only the media, but those who oppose Hegseth leading such a crucial organization are going to be hampering on. Hegseth has to prove that he's right for the job, not only because of his age and lack of experience, but also that he has the character to move forward as well.
Right. We're leaving it there for the moment, Susan. Thanks very much. And we're staying on now with news coming in from the United States. A real-life apocalypse that has unfolded in Los Angeles in the form of the wildfires, hurting just about everyone and everything in their paths. Not even California's famous fabulous rich have been left safe. Raging, unstoppable fires have killed people across class, rank, and status, destroying multi-million-dollar mansions as easily as an ordinary apartment. Consider this question now. If this is how wild the fire gets at the height of winter, what will be the state and the fate of Los Angeles at the height of summer? A great deal hangs on that very answer, because Los Angeles, you see, is the venue of the 2028 Olympics and Paralympic Games. So, can Los Angeles ensure the safety of athletes, spokespersons, spectators during the greatest sporting event on the world's calendar? A second question here. Can any other city replace Los Angeles at such a short notice? Let's just first examine the first point. The Olympics are the world's premier sporting event. We all know that. They feature thousands of athletes from around the world. They compete in a variety of competitions. Moreover, the Olympics alternate between the summer and winter seasons. But what's the link with the ongoing fires, you must be wondering? First and foremost, as we all know, fire is unpredictable. Did anyone imagine that the fires would reach where they have, destroyed homes in January 2025? Those in favor of the event argue that this great fire has not touched any of the planned venues for the 2028 games so far. But you see, wildfire does not send you a message to let you know where it's headed. They are called wildfires for a reason. In fact, experts have raised concern over the feasibility of hosting a big-ticket event as the Olympics, also known as LA 28, to be spread over 80 venues across the length and breadth of the city. And what's more, the event will span 17 days, demanding an investment of close to $7 billion and is expected to draw about 15 million visitors. Now, the wildfires, fast steering into several paths, have put pressure on both LA, the host city, as well as the private committee in charge of raising funds and organizing the games to figure out ways in which the event can be conducted unhampered in 2028, when LA might still be in recovery mode, reconstructing buildings, lost properties and structures. But what's the status of the planned venues for the games for now? Many of these venues are situated outside what could be regarded as high-risk fire zones, and with the fires sparing stadiums and other venues so far. But one cannot be absolutely sure, given the rate at which the infernos are ripping through the city, driven by high-speed winds. But just how near or far are they located from the danger zones? You see, the prestigious Riviera Country Club, planned to host the Olympic golf tournament, is situated in the affluent neighborhood of Pacific Palisades, parts of which have been reduced to ash and rubble. Last week, the flames had come dangerously close to the venue. This naturally have given the organizers a big scare. There's also the Sepulveda Basin Recreation Area. The Sepulveda Basin Recreation Area, set to host archery and skateboarding events, which also might be at a distance too close for comfort. Not just that, the historic Rose Bowl Stadium, scheduled to host football matches during the games, also reported to be within an evacuation protocol zone in Pasadena. And as the fires moved eastward, possible evacuations also looming over the campus in Westwood, which is planned to be housing the Olympic Village. You see, from 1984, when Los Angeles last hosted the Olympics, to 2028, not much seems to have changed venue-wise, as nearly all of the 2028 events are slated to take place in existing buildings, including the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where the opening ceremony, by the way, took place in '84. But you see, the concern does not quite remain limited to the places, but also the people who make the games. One of the most watched and celebrated events worldwide. We are talking about current and former athletes, sports persons, professional teams, some of whom have been severely impacted by the fires. In fact, just to get you some of the most prominent names that have been impacted, the fires destroyed houses of Los Angeles FC's Mexican striker Carlos Vela, as well as Los Angeles Lakers coach JJ Redick. Also, ex-Olympic swimmer Gary Hall Jr. lost not just his house, but also a total of 10 Olympic medals in the Palisades fire. Just imagine. Years of hard work, sacrifice, razed to the ground just like that. One thing is sure, the changing climatic patterns in LA over the last few years and the very unpredictability of these fires is bound to have the organizers on the edge. But coming to the second question, can any other city replace Los Angeles at such a short notice? The answer to that might not be as simple after all, given the current situation unfolding. Meanwhile, experts like Mark Derson, professor at the Pennsylvania State University, have floated contingency plans, including relocating the games to Paris, the 2024 host city, if necessary. With the fires becoming more frequent and long-lasting than earlier, thanks to climate change in some parts, can LA overcome the tragedy of this scale and its after effects and host successful games just 3 years from now? The clock is ticking. Hectic negotiations are going on in Qatar to finalize the contours of the Israel-Hamas deal. According to reports, Hamas has said it has briefed other Palestinian factions on progress in the ceasefire talks. The Hamas group in a statement said that it hopes for a clear and comprehensive agreement. According to a draft of the deal being negotiated between Israel and Hamas, Israel will pay a steep price to secure the release of female soldiers being held hostage. The three-phase agreement would begin with the gradual release of 33 hostages over a 6-week period, including women, children, older adults, injured civilians, in exchange for potentially hundreds of Palestinian women and children imprisoned by Israel. And among the 33 would be 5 female Israeli soldiers, each of whom would be released in exchange for 50 Palestinian prisoners, including 30 convicted security prisoners who are serving life sentences.
466 days on, the much-awaited Israel-Hamas truce is nearing a close. There's hope that the war, which witnessed over 46,000 deaths in Gaza and the killing of 405 IDF soldiers, could end within 24 hours, if there are no last-minute glitches. This amid reports of Hamas accepting the draft deal. Negotiators are meeting in Qatar, hoping to finalize details of a plan to end the war in Gaza, after US President Joe Biden indicated a ceasefire and hostage release deal was imminent.
On the war between Israel and Hamas, we're on the brink of a proposal that I laid out in detail months ago, finally coming to fruition. I have learned in many years of public service to never, ever give up.
Netanyahu's cabinet, however, is divided. His far-right National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has sparked a row after he claimed of repeatedly foiling the hostage deal over the last year. In a message, he called on Finance Minister Smotrich to join him to quit coalition if the deal is through.
The deal being forged is a deal of surrender to Hamas. I am calling on my friend, Minister Bezalel Smotrich, to join me in cooperating together against a deal being forged. Otzma Yehudit, his party, alone does not have the power to prevent the deal, but together we can go to the Prime Minister and inform him that if he passes the deal, we will withdraw from the government.
In the first stage of the potential deal, Hamas will reportedly release 33 hostages, including children, women, female soldiers. On the 16th day after the release, negotiations will begin on the second stage to free the remaining captives, comprising male soldiers, men of military age, and the bodies of hostages killed by Hamas. 94 of the 251 hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7th are believed to be in Gaza. Reports claim Israel will hold on to high-profile Hamas militants to use as leverage in the second stage of talks to ensure that every hostage is released. As per the potential deal, the IDF troops will withdraw from most areas of Gaza but stay in a buffer zone inside Gaza. During the period between the two stages, the military will continue to hold the Philadelphia corridor along the Gaza-Egypt border. One sticky issue could be the handover of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's body, captured by the IDF. An Arab media outlet reported that Hamas was demanding the body of its former leader in the first stage of the deal. But as per an Israeli government source, Jerusalem is not ready for that. While negotiators are leaving no stone unturned to reach a deal, Israel continues to pound Gaza. US Secretary of State Blinken hopes the plan will serve as a blueprint for Gaza's governance. Now, all eyes are on the negotiators, who race against time to reach a deal ahead of Trump's inauguration.
Our next story is from the UK. Could the reformed UK leader, Nigel Farage, be the next UK Prime Minister? A new poll in the UK has revealed a dramatic shift in people's voting intentions. The YouGov survey basically shows Labour and Reform UK neck and neck, with the Conservatives trailing behind. According to the YouGov poll, Labour has secured 26% of the vote, while Reform UK is close behind with 25%. The Conservatives have slipped to 22%, with the Liberal, Democrats and Greens securing 14% and 8% respectively. The poll results prompted a quick reaction from Farage. In a post on X, Farage quote-unquote said that the Tory brand is completely broken. We are the real opposition to this disastrous government, quote-unquote. The poll also highlights Labour Party's struggles to retain its voter base, with only 54% of Labour's 2024 supporters saying that they will support the party again, with 17% undecided, 29% defecting to other parties. Another key highlight of the poll is the UK's young voters. While the Labour remains the most popular party in the 18 to 24 age group with 36% support, the Greens have secured 22%. Reform UK's popularity among young voters was evident, having secured 19% of the vote share, surpassing the Conservatives' 5% share. The shift in the voting intention since the 2024 UK general election, you see, presents a significant challenge for Kemi Badenoch, the newly elected leader of the Conservative Party. With Reform UK poaching Conservative voters, Badenoch faces an uphill battle to revitalise the party's fortunes. And the question remains, could Farage be the next UK Prime Minister? A small-time Chinese actor went missing while travelling in Thailand. 2 days later, his girlfriend took to the internet for help. It was this desperate plea that ultimately saved him from falling victim to a notorious Myanmar scam centre and bringing significant attention to the ongoing plight of many individuals trapped in similar circumstances. Wong Xing, also known by his stage name Xing Xing, was reported missing in northern Thailand's Tak province, bordering Myanmar, an area known for large-scale criminal enterprises and human trafficking by organized gangs. Wong's girlfriend reportedly first raised the alert in a social media post after losing contact with her boyfriend. On the 7th of January, Thai police officials announced that Wong had been found in Myanmar and that he may have been a victim of human trafficking. During interrogation, Wong revealed that he had been communicating on WeChat with people he believed were Chinese employees of a major Thai entertainment firm, and that these people had offered him an acting job. However, after reaching Thailand, these people kidnapped him, reportedly, took him to Myanmar border, shaved his head, and forced him to undergo training for working scams.
นายจริงๆเนี่ยได้ใช้ WeChat
Wang Xing used WeChat to communicate with Chinese people. In the WeChat that I saw, there's mention of GMM Grammy, a media conglomerate entertainment company in Thailand, followed by a Chinese name. It could be anyone who said that name. Wang Xing didn't know what GMM Grammy was, only that the person who claimed to be Chinese said they would bring them for a casting call with Thai people.
Although Wong is now safe, his case has highlighted the alarming number of similar missing person incidents, likely linked to these sophisticated Myanmar-based scam operations. As per reports, traffickers mostly target young Asian people via social media. They lure the victims with well-paid work and free accommodation. However, on arrival, their passports are taken and they are often sold to different groups and forced to work in offices running illegal phone or online scams. For Thailand, the Wong case has become a PR nightmare. Eason Chan, a Hong Kong singer, has cancelled the sold-out Bangkok leg of his tour, citing safety concerns for his crew and fans in Thailand following Wong's ordeal. Germany has ordered its armed forces to shoot down unidentified drones suspected of spying over military bases, industrial facilities and other critical infrastructure. As per German media reports, the German cabinet is expected to pass a draft amendment to the Aviation Security Act to enable the military to use force against unmanned aerial vehicles. Previously, authorities relied on signal jammers to disable drones. The report added that German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser and Defense Minister Boris Pistorius have agreed on the measures after drones were spotted in restricted airspace near energy, telecommunications, transport and industrial facilities. This comes after German police said on Monday they were investigating recent drone sightings over 2 military facilities. Germany is on high alert for espionage due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the police have said they were probing into several incidents in which drones have flown over German military installations. On Sunday, police spotted at least 10 unmanned aerial vehicles flying in a secured military zone in Manching that houses the Eurofighter jets. On December 19, 3 drones were spotted over a military air base in another town. UK's late Queen Elizabeth II was not told for almost 10 years that her long-time art advisor was a Soviet spy. This was revealed in secret files of the MI5 that were reportedly released for the first time on Tuesday. The files provide new details about Britain's most notorious double agents, Kim Philby and Anthony Blunt, who were part of the notorious Cambridge 5 spy ring. Blunt, a surveyor of the Queen's pictures and a member of the royal household, had confessed to being a Soviet double agent in April 1964. But security services closely guarded the news and the Queen was only informed in 1973. Some of these files are part of a special exhibition at the National Archives titled MI5 Official Secrets. This features case files, photographs, papers, equipment used by spies in the agency's 115-year history. Philby and Blunt were, along with Guy Burgess, Donald MacLean and John Ken Ross, part of the Ring of Five. They were former Cambridge University students who passed information to the Soviets from the 1930s for almost 2 decades. Among the papers is an incomplete 6-page confession from 1963 of Philby, in which he finally admits his deception after years of suspicion. Philby was seen as the Cambridge Five's ringleader and who became a senior figure in Britain's foreign spy agency, MI6.
Kim Philby was one of the most notorious of the Cambridge spy ring. He had worked for MI6 since around, I think it's 1940. And he had passed so many secrets over to the Soviet Union.
Documents recounting how he met with a man called Otto in 1934 at the behest of his wife, who was a Communist Party member. Philby fled to Moscow reportedly shortly after his confession. In 2010, he was honored with a plaque at the headquarters of the Foreign Intelligence Service in Moscow.
Included in this release is the confession file for Kim Philby. Now, he handed over a confession statement to an officer of the Secret Intelligence Service, and it is an incomplete statement, but he does talk about when he's first recruited by somebody known as Otto, who is really Arnold Deutsch. In 1934, he's recruited for the Soviet Union.
In the files relating to Blunt, there is a transcript of the 1964 interview conducted by the officer Arthur Martin, in which he finally confesses in exchange for immunity from prosecution. At that time, he was the late Queen Elizabeth's advisor on art, a role he maintained until 1972, with his involvement in the ring only publicly revealed in 1979. A note from March 1973 said the Queen's private secretary had spoken to the monarch about Blunt. It said that she took it all very calmly and without surprise.
Now have, for the first time, documentary evidence to show that the Queen was indeed told about the Blunt case. And this comes in again, in one of the files where it said that the Queen's private secretary had spoken to her, told her about the Blunt case. This is in 1973. And the file shows that the Queen reacted calmly and without surprise. She said that she'd had some inkling of it.
Switching focus for now, you might want to think about switching careers if you love money but don't currently work in the crypto sector. Why are we talking about this? A recent survey has found that crypto job salaries are 153% more than the average salary in comparable sectors. Can you imagine that? Our next report brings you more as we decode the survey findings on crypto sector's pay averaging more as compared to the other industries and the reasons for that.
Research by NFT Evening into 1,169 crypto blockchain related roles found that crypto specialists earn far more. Even within the tech industry, crypto roles pay 46% more on average. Digital asset industry roles pay approximately 16% more than those that deal with artificial intelligence. The highest paying state in the US for a quantitative portfolio manager is New York. The average salary is $184,946 and the top salary is over $1 million. The state also dominates the crypto sector with 23.87% share of all digital asset job posts. Nearly 43% of all crypto job ads are in the engineering and tech fields. On average, software engineers in the crypto industry make $209,000 a year, which is 78% more than those working in more conventional tech jobs. Blockchain engineers, protocol designers, and cybersecurity specialists round out the list of notable roles within the crypto sector. Even remote work, which represents 43% of job postings, has an average salary of over $173,000. Meanwhile, on-site work will get an average of more than $143,000. Jobs in analysis and research typically pay over $241,000, making them the highest paying in the field. Next on the list is finance and accounting, where the average salary for a lead job is $222,000. The dependence on financial planning and compliance competence within the sector is highlighted by this category. However, data compiled by analytics company CoinCub shows that in 2024, crypto-related jobs fell 90% and Bitcoin-related jobs fell 95%. An 84% drop was felt alone in the United States. Jobs connected to blockchain also declined by half. CoinCub CEO Segyu Hamza, referring to the deep layoffs in the crypto sector, said the numbers are crushing down in a straight line. He added that these are consistent with a wide swathe of crypto-native companies reducing headcounts in recent months. Things seem to be turning this year, though. After laying off 28% of its employees last year, Blockchain.com has announced intentions to increase its employment by 25%. Paybido, a cryptocurrency exchange located in Singapore, has stated intentions to increase headcount in both its Singapore and Dubai offices by 50%. According to a new research by Premise Partners, Web3 has the potential to generate 8 million job openings in India during the next 10 years. This is planned through the creation of 2 million direct positions and high wages and a threefold multiplier for indirect jobs. Business Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 PM IST, 3:30 PM GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
WION, India's India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.